So you probably have already seen videos talking about power systems and how abilities that define or suit the users are interesting or other. People already made several video essays on these kinds of power systems, mainly in reference to JoJo's. The powers are made to suit the user or vice versa. So what happens when it's the user the power is created from? Not by choice, but by nature. In this video, I'm going to be talking about part of my power system, progressed race abilities, aka PRs. In my story, there are 4 races. One is Nightdale. When compared to the other races, they are clearly the least complicated due to their lack in abilities and/or complexity.
This can make them seem lackluster at times.
They can't manipulate elements. They can't engineer their own abilities or unique styles. There's primarily only a few ways to use them. This is until you get to the progressed race ability. These are abilities based on the soul. To better explain, I'll tell you what the detail of a soul is. It is how detailed the shape of your soul is, and this often reflects experiences, how much one had, and how much they had an effect on someone. For example, something traumatic gives more detail than you picking out your clothes. So you get detail as you get older, but also by how extreme the experience is. Even though you would probably guess that these 2 ways are similar, they aren't. The getting older part only happens due to your experiences, so it's different for everyone. This leads to extreme differences from person to person. This is what PRAs are based on. These are abilities that manifest based on soul detail, normally one around a single experience. These experiences normally have some sort of heavy meaning to the user, which is why they are forced to manifest, and why they tend to be based on trauma. I'll give a few examples. La Brida has 3 PRAs. One of them is called Shala. It summons 2 mechanical fish that when they bite something off, it will act like it's still attached to a body. Except from obvious things like not being able to walk as you are missing a leg. She is able to return it if she wants, or when she disables it, they will actually take part. It's able to be done on her and others. The problem is how it only works inside, so it's limited in how she can attack. She can use it to do things like protect her vital organs, fights, or interrogations. So how did she gain this ability? This ability is based on the death of her sister. She ended up finding her sister in a bag, cut up. Now, she didn't know about how her sister had died before this. It was a shock to her. In her perspective, her sister wasn't dead yet until she opened the bag. This is why it's limited to only work inside, and why the ability keeps disconnected things together. It's a reference to her dead body. Furthermore, the mechanical fish represents the false life that is within and the connection to her feelings. Aleah has a PRA, and it's called Ishon. This was created after her brother died. In my story, Izanagi, there is a disease called Robinson. It only affects Nightdales, and it basically turns them into monstrous vampires. He killed himself to prevent that from happening to him, and him hurting his sister. The name Ishon is a rearrangement of his name, Noshi. What the ability does is make an enemy so that any damage Ishon, the summoned monster, is reflected back on her opponent. This can be inanimate or alive. In addition, she is able to attack via Ishon. The ability represents how she was hurt by what happened to her brother. Him killing himself was like killing part of her. As you can see, these abilities are pretty well thought out due to the fact that it's tied to the user's soul and is made to suit them near perfectly due to their experiences. The cool thing is that they can't control when they are created. They just have to deal with it. Some of the abilities stay dormant, waiting to actually be accessed, while others are able to instantly access the ability. In addition, these abilities sometimes grow with the user, normally due to something involving the experience, like revisiting trauma. But what if we could take this one step farther, add another layer of complexity to it, introducing the espiritu? Something else unique about Nightdales is the fact that they have 2 souls.
The soul they are born with, and the soul that binds to them. These are espiritu.
These are souls that come from the afterlife and become bound to a Nightdale's body. The complexity comes from the fact it's another soul. Therefore, progressed race abilities can also be born from their soul. Espiritu gain PR, as differently in the fact they already have a lot of soul detail, and they tend to have abilities beforehand. Their PRAs are often based on past abilities, but with unique twists due to the primary soul.
Espiritu represents superego and id. They see your innermost thoughts, understanding them. At times, they can act like a chip on your shoulder. They are also the reason why someone could gain more than one. To be able to use more than one PRA, someone must unlock a place called Verdad. It's somewhere where the 2 souls are able to communicate, and it is based on the soul detail of both of them, so the look of the space could potentially change with their experiences. They need to have access to this space if they want more PRAs. This is a metaphor for understanding your inner self. You're literally put into a world based on yourself. There are now 2 options for our abilities. One based on yourself, or another based on a completely different soul. That's all for this video. Comment down below if you want to see other videos based on races.